You know, the Pac-12 commissioner, he is one multitasking dude. He's trying to keep USC, he's trying to keep UCLA, and he's trying to become one of sports' all-time greatest liars. Kudos, sir. Really pushing for it. The national press, they now realize it's not all Russell Westbrook's fault. We knew. And a Dodgers coach is interviewing for a vacant managerial job. Good morning, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelenos. It is October 27, 2022. I'm in a tremendous mood. Going to be with the wife for one more morning before I split for work. And I want to thank the new subscribers who joined our channel. If you like the content that we put out about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yes, comment. Even the new subscribers. I appreciate every last one of you. So, before we get through the news and notes from around LA, take a quick look at the scoreboard. There was only one game last night involving an LA team, and the Lakers fell to 0-4. Yikes. Denver 110, Lakers 99. It is their worst start since the year 2015. We'll add a note or two to that in just a moment. Meanwhile, tonight, Kawhi Leonard is out again when the Clippers face Oklahoma City at 5 o'clock. We have no idea yet. We have no notes. He returned to LA to try to get treatment on his surgically repaired knee. But we don't have any update as to what's been going on with Kawhi. Meanwhile, Winnipeg, they're in town. They're going to play the LA Kings at 7:30. Give it up for Gabe Vilardi. He was a periphery player. They didn't even know if he was going to make the club. Tied for the team lead with 5 goals. So they have a Pac-12 media day for basketball. And the commissioner, George Kliavkoff, was there. And he's still trying to pry the Bruins away from leaving the conference. You see, the Bruins are one of the keys. If they can try to get UCLA to stay, chances are USC would have no choice but to stay in the Pac-12 conference. They're going to be leaving the conference in the year 2024. If everything continues along his way, Kliavkoff is firing every bullet out of the gun to make sure it doesn't happen, because if USC and UCLA leaves, the conference is going to be in big trouble. So what is he doing now? Well, Kliavkoff says, I've spoken with more than 100 coaches and 100 athletes at both UCLA and USC, and it's all unanimous. They all hate going to the Big Ten. It is a unanimous vote of hate, similar to the election results that you would get in Iraq. Hate, hate, hate. Why, if LA didn't try to cancel Dave Chappelle, they would have the player haters ball and move it to Poly Pavilion. That's how much hate that UCLA and USC has for moving to the Big Ten. So much hate. It's kind of like if you went to Denny's to the $2 menu for the limitless stack of pancakes, just stacking that hate sky high until you couldn't stomach any more hate. The ghost of John Wooden, for Pete's sake, appeared out of nowhere to George Kliavkoff and detailed his new philosophy, the pyramid of hate. That's how much hate is going on. Except for one thing. Kliavkoff didn't name anybody. Hundreds of people. Who are they? Not telling. And I'm telling you something, when I hear something like that, it gives me pause as a reporter, because yes, it is true in sports or in news. Sometimes you have no choice to use an anonymous source. Sometimes you have to go to your editor and say, look, this guy could be in a real pickle if we release his name. Well, how close is he? And then you have to detail how much in the know your anonymous source is. Because it's a real problem to run anonymous sources in the press. They do it, it's just a real problem. So you have to dot your I's, cross your T's. So when a random dude says, hey, I've got hundreds of people who say this is all terrible and nobody likes it, I just want names. Now you might sit there and say, well, maybe the coaches don't want to give out their names, risk their jobs. Okay, fine. But who are the players? They're not risking jobs. Their scholarships are not going to be taken away. If they're a star player, they're not going to be losing playing time. You see, what I can do is I can go back on this channel and name athletes who specifically chose USC, who specifically chose UCLA, because they knew that once they get to the Big Ten, the competition gets higher and it makes their draft stock look that much better if they play well. So where does this put George Kliavkoff in sports' biggest liars? I've been wondering about that for the last day or so. I mean, is he Manti Te'o with the imaginary girlfriend? Maybe Ryan Braun saying that he was shocked that somebody jabbed a needle in his booty with steroids and that's how he failed? Barry Bonds with his microscopic testes? I have no idea. I mean, I wouldn't put him as big of a liar as, say, OJ or Lance Armstrong. Kliavkoff really has to work to tie those guys, wouldn't you say? But yeah, one of sports' biggest liars. By the way, Kliavkoff, earlier in his fight to keep UCLA, he claimed earlier this year that UCLA would lose money by going to the Big Ten. And the LA Times went to people familiar with the UCLA athletic department who were basically saying that's a bunch of crap. The Bruins are going to make between $65 million and $75 million in year one alone due to the media rights revenue in the Big Ten's media contract. So, no, they're not going to lose a lot of money. But go ahead, dude. Keep spreading that BS, man. Keep doing it. Small clap for George Kliavkoff and his failing attempt to try to convince the public that moving to the Big Ten is a bad idea. Okay, so earlier we mentioned how the Lakers lost last night, okay? Russell Westbrook, he didn't play, claimed it was his hamstring. He's also not going to play in the next Lakers game. Same issue. And so the national press, after the Lakers threw up brick after brick after brick last night, they all come out and they were all in unison. Shame on ye for pinning everything on Russell Westbrook. Shame upon shame. It is not all Russell Westbrook's fault. To which I say, nobody was saying it was all Russell Westbrook's fault. We knew this team couldn't shoot. The difference between the rest of the team and Russell Westbrook is the rest of the team is taking accountability. Right? The rest of the team is being adult about it. Right? So no, it is not all Russell Westbrook's fault. But we can be pretty forgiving if we think you're trying hard. We don't even necessarily know if Russell Westbrook wants to be in LA. By the way, also more bad news for the Lakers. Will Smith gave the team a pep talk prior to the game last night. Yeah. How'd that go? I mean, I don't know. If I'm sitting there on the bench and Will Smith is giving me this pep talk about rising above adversity, like when, I don't know, Will Smith's wife went on national TV bragging about how she was sleeping around with everybody on the West Coast and you rose above that to get an Oscar, I don't know if that's going to make me want to shoot better from three-point range. And besides that, winning the Oscar, we all know how that turned out that night. Will Smith is not the one to be giving you your Rocky Balboa speech at the end of the movie. Dodgers first base coach Clayton McCullough has interviewed for a vacant managerial opening over in Kansas City. And by the way, if you've ever been to Kansas City, there's a lot of wonderfully drunk people there. The outside of the stadium looks like a busted tin can, but the inside of the stadium, chef's kiss. Immaculate. If you ever have a chance to go see a Royals game, even if they stink, please do. However, the Royals have interviewed 6 people at least. McCullough is, in fact, a finalist. I don't know if that means he's the favorite. He has previously interviewed with the Mets and the Giants. He is seen as a quote-unquote detail guy. So whatever mistakes that are obvious that the Royals are making, hopefully he can clean that up. Why is possibly losing Trey Turner such a big deal? Well, do you recall that basically ever since 2015, LA has been set at shortstop? They've never had a problem there. That was Corey Seager's rookie year. He came on like gangbusters. And then, of course, he got injured for half a year, so the Dodgers traded for Manny Machado. And then came Trey Turner. So Trey Turner might be the number 2 free agent out there. But the weird thing for the Dodgers is I've been suggesting the possibility that Gavin Lux become the next shortstop. So what do? Because, yeah, that's a bit of a downgrade from Trey Turner. Because Trey Turner is number 2 in one of those weird analytic stats, wins above replacement. Trey Turner, number 2. But you know who's number 1 in the entirety of Major League Baseball for wins above replacement? Aaron Judge. So if both of them cost the same, but one is allegedly better in this wins above replacement thing, wouldn't you be better with Aaron Judge and Gavin Lux at shortstop? Now, I'm not saying I know that's the answer. I'm just asking. Let me know what you think in the comments thread. Rookie running back from Notre Dame, Kyren Williams, is back at practice. He had an ankle injury after week 1. Now, he's not going to be playing Sunday against the Niners, mind you. So the running game is still at issue for the Rams. We'll be talking about that in a preview of the game that I'll be debuting in a day or so. Also, Houston media reports that LA has reached out to the Texans about wide receiver Brandon Cooks. Now, Cooks used to play for the Rams. He is a deep threat. But having said that, he wasn't necessarily a difference maker for the Rams. Okay? Not a difference maker for the Rams, but in Houston, he is literally their only trade chip. So now you'd be paying out more to get a guy back that you weren't really in love with the first time you had him. I've been harping on getting a pass rusher for the team. The Rams, they are 31st in a 32-team league in terms of pressure rate against the opposing quarterback. So take that or leave that. No Joey Bosa, no Chris Rumph. So the Bolts are apparently going to sign a dude named Jeremiah Atochu. He was drafted by the Bolts back in 2017. Since then, he's basically bounced around the league. So basically somebody who has an idea of what to do, but not necessarily a needle mover. I mentioned earlier when Mike Williams, the wide receiver, turned up lame, I was suggesting that he would possibly be out a month, and that's apparently now official. He is out for a month. So it is true now, you do have Keenan Allen back, but the number 2 and possibly the number 3 receivers are out. I was watching the Kings on ESPN Plus the other night, and I mentioned that Gabriel Velarde is scoring very well, and he's tied with the team lead with 5 goals, right up there with Adrian Kempe, which are both great. But here's an ish. Kevin Fiala has just 1 goal in 8 games. The guy that they traded a lot of prospects to, they signed him to a big money contract. Now, he has 6 points in those 8 games. So he hasn't been terrible. And Coach Todd McClellan says that Fiala is adapting, therefore there's no reason to panic yet. But if you're waiting like me, you are waiting for that scorer's touch to finally kick in and bump the Kings offense up just an extra notch. If you're a hockey expert and you know how long it takes for that to happen, feel free to weigh in. And I know that's a random ass question, but anybody at any time, man, look forward to hearing from you. Now, if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports here. I'm James. Thank you for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corta El Queso production. Take care.